depends on a lot of things, but
Depends
yeah.
on what kind of antenna you've created.
Right.
And it
And a
depends
lot of
on
times you can
what's,
extend it with even a Pringles can.
yep, so it depends too on what is in the middle. So if there's like metal, like, you know, if a lot of these walls around here have metal in them, that makes it harder to get through. Like your refrigerator, it's not going to get through your refrigerator. A glass window might be easier for it to get through.
Right. When I was working at St. Joe's, you could never get any cell phone coverage underneath the MRI machine. It's just, with all of this metal and magnets and everything else above you, then you're not getting anything.
How risky is it when I go to the service that I pay AT&T Uverse $25 a month or so to monitor my malware and so forth. And once in a while when I get a screw up on my computer, I call them up and I get a guy on the phone and he checks my credentials out and he says he's going to gain access to my computer. So he sends me a pop-up, I got to click on it and
Yeah.
he tells me his name. Then he comes in and I see going through all my files.
That's probably not a problem because you're the one calling them and
If
asking
you
them to do
initiate
it.
it.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
if he's copying down, can he copy down some data that I'm typing in? Then he takes it home and sells it to the Russians?
Could he? Yes.
See, there you go, another leak in the
He
mail.
could.
Trust no one.
Well, so
But now you got to say, wait a minute. To get any serious money, you can't do retail. You got to do wholesale. Yeah, how much money is he going to get from selling your one account? And he endangers his job doing it. So, of all the things I'm going to worry about, that's not one of them.
Okay, that's good.
It's kind of like, you know, like your credit card information and whatnot. If you have initiated the phone call, there's little risk involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
If somebody calls you out of the blue, just like you got that phone call from Microsoft, my brother-in-law also got that phone call. And he gave them access to his computer. And they clicked around and showed him some stuff, and then all of a sudden they wanted payment. And the way that they wanted him to pay them, and they flat out told him, go to 7-Eleven and buy a green dot credit card.
Yeah, they,
Put this much money on that card, call me back, and give me the PIN number. Because all they want to do is just make a cash transaction on it, which is
Right.
untraceable.
you're the second person to mention green dot credit card. The first time was yesterday from this guy.
Yep. You know,
What the
and,
hell's a green dot credit card?
and my
It's
mom,
untraceable.
I thought it was like an
cash,
ultra
is what it is.
flush premium. I got a
No,
black card.
like Amex or something?
No,
Amex
it's
black.
like green
it's a
card.
little burner credit card that is untraceable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and my mom has received 3 of these phone calls, and I'm a Linux administrator as profession, and I'm just praying that one day one of these guys calls me, because I want to have some fun with them.
well, so I did that. One guy called me and says you're having a problem with your Windows computer. Now I don't run Windows. And it was on a phone number that I knew they didn't have any way of associating with me or my computers and stuff. And so, you know, you get to talk to them a little bit about what kind of problem am I having, and
And, but that raises one other thing. If you have any data that is not backed up, think about that. Because one of the ones, it's those green dot cards factor into this, or Bitcoins is also used as a thing called crypto wall. And what they do is they get into your computer through whatever means they do, it doesn't matter. But what they do is they encrypt the entire contents of your computer. And then it's like, you want the key to get your data back?
I know a
Costs
guy.
you.
I know a guy who did that, and it was going to cost him like $800, and decided to spend the $800 because the information was important enough to them. Yep.
Yeah.
So-
Do they actually give them the proper key?
Yeah. So they want this
far-
to work, right? So they don't want you to say to your buddy, "Oh, I had that happen," and don't give it. So they will give you the key to unlock it.
Yeah, everything I've seen says they're, if you can call them honest thieves, but, they do, because if word gets out that they don't, then no one will
Scam
ever
is
pay them
done,
again.
yeah.
And, they're making millions of dollars through this scam. I mean, just a couple of days ago, I read about a police department, I think in Illinois, where that happened, and to get their data back, they coughed up the $600 or $800.
Yeah, it was on television, and I was surprised how cheap it was to buy it back. I thought they would ask for
if it's-
thousands of dollars, it was only
If
like
it's too
400
much,
bucks.
you know, what you have to do is you have to gauge, at what point do you say, I can get along without this stuff?
Yeah.
It's not worth that amount of money. So, you know, I think when they talk 600, whatever, it's like, okay, that's right at the point where it's like, that will kill me to do it, and I really want my data back. Yeah, what the hell, I'll do it.
I wonder if they factor in like how big your hard drive is too. Chances are the bigger your hard drive, the more you're gonna spend.
Uh,
They're like, oh, it's because you got a tiny hard drive, $100. Yeah,
But see,
Yeah.
but then even that depends, because you get, you know, first-time parents, and every single picture of the newborn is
Right.
on that drive.
Right.
That's the ones that, you know,
They'll pay
they're
it.
gonna pay. I mean,
Yeah.
if,
Supply and demand.
if they encrypt my copies of Doctor Who, I can just download new ones, so
Exactly.
that's not a problem.
Yeah, well, so there's another scam that was out there. Well, I don't know if it's you'd call it a scam, but someone calling and saying, "Hey, we noticed you downloaded illegal material, and now you have to pay to, you know, to get to for that material." And so I know someone that was, you know, actually had downloaded some material and was willing to pay and everything, you know.
And it was illegally downloaded?
Well, yeah. So
At
they
that point in
illegally
time,
downloaded some
I would
material.
demand a letter from some kind of law firm, because, and my wife's side of the family's not the most technically adept. My stepson was silly enough to go to one of those payday advance places, but he didn't go to a brick and mortar, he went to one online. Of course, gave him his account information so that they could deposit the money. Well, then they sold his account number. He borrowed, I want to say it was $1,500, and by the time that he finally closed down that account, they had taken over $6,000 from him.
Mhm.
And that was about a year and a half ago. To this day, we are still getting phone calls threatening lawsuits and everything else, and it's just like, that's fine, sue us, send me a letter.
See
You
you in
know,
court.
all they want to do is make arrangements for payment over the phone, so they can get another bank account. And it's, no, you send me a letter, or you send me a statement saying what I owe, and then by all means, I'll write you a check and send it to you. But
Could he have sent a green card? And it
no.
downloaded to that green card?
No, unfortunately not, because they want routing numbers
Oh.
and account numbers. And there's no money to be made attacking prepaid credit cards.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be interesting to see how many services would actually accept a prepaid credit card instead of a real credit card. I mean,
But nowadays, they can verify that you have the funds in your account even if you write them a paper check. So credit cards are even much faster, where they can connect to the main central database, run that credit card number, find out what kind of balance you have on your card. And as long as it's within, you know, you have more or enough as to what you're paying, they're fine with it and they authorize it. There are some places that, like mail order websites and whatnot, that do not allow prepaid credit cards.
that's what I'm saying. So, you know, like you go to Amazon or some legitimate company that you're buying things from, you know, would they prefer to have, a credit card that is a regular credit card that you pay monthly payments on, you know?
You know, this is where you have to evaluate convenience. Okay, Amazon has my credit card number. It's a legitimate credit card number. It's got all the time. It's just too convenient, and so
You
it's
put
a
a-
risk I accept.
You put a mediocre limit though on that card. I've got 3 credit cards. I got one with a
Yeah.
lot of balance that I can get, and I got one
I've
that's
got a
$500.
very nice little credit card with a $1,000 limit, so, you know, you can't run up a lot of stuff, but it's a legitimate, you know, and for like, I wanna spend $20 on a CD, it's fine. And I can just go to Amazon and, you know.
Well, so we've had to redo our credit card a couple times. There's, I don't know how, somehow I think my wife went to one of these places where the clerk was scamming and grabbing card numbers and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I mean, that's gonna happen. Physically, you can't prevent
Right.
someone from grabbing your card information. So, we had to replace it, and then we were target customers, so we did our credit card based on that, and there was another, what was that, another, big company like that, stuff.
Home Depot got hammered.
Home Depot, and then there was
Same
another
way, point of
hardware
sale
store. So, we've redone our credit, so my wife has a list and knows exactly how to go through the whole routine of changing all the accounts that are set up
Yeah.
with those credit card numbers, which is a good thing to have, is a list of the companies that have your credit card number.
But also, like nowadays, you have your ATM debit card
Mm-hmm.
that acts like a credit card, providing you have the funds. Don't use those on websites. Because if for some reason they get that information and they pull money out of your bank account, you may never get it back.
Yeah, it's not like a
If they
credit
have
card.
a credit card and you can prove to the vendor of that credit card you did not make those purchases will be removed from your account. You're not responsible for.
Well, so the credit card company said that they actually had a signature of one of the transactions, and they looked at, it wasn't my wife's signature, someone had forged her name on a physical piece of paper,
Right.
so, yeah,
And
it's,
a lot of times that's the store's fault
yeah, well,
because they don't check ID like
Right.
they used to.
right,
Yeah, well, I always find it interesting, people say, I would never give my credit card to a website, use it online,
Yeah,
heavens
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, but you'll give it to some teenager at a restaurant who
yeah,
walks away with it.
right,
Have you seen? One of my credit cards does this, and I have one at one of the big banks, and they have a feature where you can create a virtual credit card number,
Yeah,
and you can generate and say, I want to put $5 on this credit card because I'm going to this website I haven't used before, and it expires in 2 months, and then it just generates a little number for
it's
you.
just a one-time use.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. But I made the mistake one time. I was doing that at like Fandango to buy movie tickets, and then I went to the movie theater to pick it up, and I was like, I don't have this credit card number. I just generated it. So I mean, they ended up, I got to see the movie and everything, but I just had to go through a little bit of
Yeah.
hassle.
Yeah.
yeah, well, so there's, like, you have to sign the back of the card. I don't sign the back of my card, I've never been called on that,
So what I do, and that people are astonished by it, I put down on the back.
check ID,
No, I put down white, age 71,
yeah.
and
Well-
hazel eyes.
Well, so,
You know?
I had a situation where a buddy of mine who's a quadriplegic, right? So he's in the van and all strapped in and stuff like that. He lets his helper go in and pick up stuff out of the store. So the helper has a credit card. Now, the quadriplegic is a white guy. The helper is a black guy, and he has his ID and shows the ID. The clerk looks at this and says, "Yeah, okay," and approves the purchase. So it's kind of tough to
Yeah.
One of the things I want to leave here and tell you guys, because I wasn't even thinking of this, but I've been preaching this for 2 years. I have an Coal America debit card, ATM card with Visa logo. Now, they mail this to you, and you first get it, and because you may have requested it because you want to use the ATM machine. But what I didn't catch till it was too late was that it's also a credit card. So, in other words, I got to put a PIN number in here at the ATM machine. If I go to Comerica, I go to Chase Bank, I can use this card. I can go to Kroger's, swipe it, I got to put my PIN number in. But if I wanted to use it as a credit card, I just have to punch the little screen that says credit, and it'd be a credit card. So one day, I left this somewhere, and I went to the pharmacy the next morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, and they said it's declined. I had like a $5,000 balance on the credit side and $200 on the debit side. Well, I called immediately, called America Security. They got 5 minutes. They got back to me and says, your card has been used to buy 400 gallons worth of gas in Taylor, Michigan, and someone bought a plasma TV in Kentucky. And so I immediately contacted Coal America Security, and what they did is they canceled
Yeah.
the credit card portion of this. So if I leave this here, people say, oh, I'm gonna go swipe some gas, because you don't need
So-
to put any PIN numbers at the gas pump. So I'm trying to tell senior citizens in my crowd, because they're forgetful, I said, if you got one of these two-way cards, you better cancel the credit side and use a legitimate credit card, and not this one, because it could be devastating. And they made good on it, but I lost my credit for like
Well-
30, 60 days.
Well, I'm going to turn off the recording now. It sounds like we're starting to wind down. Thank you very much.
The
It was
banks
very-
don't tell it this as a caution.